And they were once appointed heads of the late Queen's Commonwealth Trust, but Harry and Meghan have since tried their best to trash the monarchy's relationship with its member nations, including allowing it to be called British Empire 2.0 in their Ballfest Netflix documentary. Make no mistake, the Sussexes have tried tearing apart the Commonwealth. Now, though, senior royals are planning a 2-year blitz of formal visits to protect ties with the former colonial territories. The King, Queen, William and Kate will aim to show, quote, soft diplomacy with nations like Australia, which increasingly suggests they want to go it alone. What do you think? Will new royal tours be enough to reverse Harry and Meghan's damage to the Commonwealth? Debating this now is former aide to Margaret Thatcher, Nile Gardiner, the activist and journalist Peter Tatchell, and royal scoop getter at The Spectator, Cara Kennedy. So, Nile Gardiner, look, there is a lot of damage that has to be undone, isn't there? Because maybe in the UK, and maybe even to a certain extent in the US, folk are waking up to the lies told by Harry and Meghan. But in certain countries, Niall, for example, throughout the Caribbean, it did huge damage.
Well, Dan, it's great to be here on the show today. And as you point out, Dan, I think that Meghan and Harry have done their best to try and undermine the royal family, the British monarchy, but also they've done their best to try and undermine the Commonwealth as well. It's an absolute disgrace. Their relentless attacks on what Great Britain stands for on the world stage. And the Commonwealth of Nations, 56 countries in total, 2.4 billion people there. It's a great achievement. So the British people should be tremendously proud, I think, of the Commonwealth. And Meghan and Harry, with their narcissism and their nastiness, will not succeed, I think, in undermining the Commonwealth. So I greatly welcome the news that senior royals will be travelling across the Commonwealth countries in the course of the next few years. Very important visits. And I do think that the future of the monarchy is in great hands. I do believe the Commonwealth is secure for many dozens of decades more as well, actually. And I think that what we are going to see is a stronger Commonwealth on the world stage. And we're going to see a British monarchy that's going to last for another 1,000 years, I think, despite the best efforts of Meghan and Harry and their arrogance and narcissism. So I do think that we are going to see a secure monarchy and a very strong and robust Commonwealth as well in the years ahead.
Nile Gardiner doesn't hold back. In a statement that's making waves across the royal world, he calls Prince Harry and Meghan Markle two of the most narcissistic people on earth. Tonight we break down what Gardiner really meant, why he said it, and how this brutal assessment exposes the growing chasm between the Sussexes and their legacy. Gardiner's words hit like thunder. He's not a gossip columnist, he's a respected political analyst. So when he speaks with this level of conviction, the world listens. He argues that Harry and Meghan have turned self-obsession into an art form. From their Netflix deals to their endless interviews, everything now revolves around them. According to Gardiner, what was once a royal couple with purpose has become a brand built on grievance. Two people more concerned with image than integrity. Gardiner calls it the cult of self. He believes Harry and Meghan's actions aren't about activism anymore. They're about attention. Every public moment, every speech, every tear seems crafted for the camera. He even compares their behavior to celebrity vanity at its peak, detached from humility, blind to consequence. It's harsh, but his point lands. In chasing control of their narrative, have they lost touch with reality, and with the family that made them royal in the first place? Let's pause. What does narcissistic even mean here? Gardiner's not just using it as an insult, he's describing a pattern. Constant validation seeking, rewriting truth, and a desperate need to be admired. When every disagreement becomes a documentary and every family moment becomes a headline, it's not transparency, it's theater. And the sad irony? The more they talk about being misunderstood, the more misunderstood they become.
Peter Tatchell, you're not so certain, are you? You actually think a lot of this damage done by Harry and Meghan is not going to be turned around simply by a royal tour from William or Charles?
Well, I simply don't believe that Meghan and Harry have damaged the Commonwealth to the extent described. The problem with the Commonwealth is that countries, long before Meghan and Harry said anything, were talking about ditching the monarch King Charles or his predecessor, Queen Elizabeth, as their head of state. They want to be republics. Out of the 56 Commonwealth member states, only 14 have King Charles as head of state. And countries like Jamaica and Antigua and Barbuda are already planning to go alone and become republics without King Charles as head of state. So that's been long in the making, and it lies more particularly in the history of the royal family's involvement in the slave trade and in colonization, which caused those countries great harm and damage. That's where the anger is coming from, and that's the biggest threat to the Commonwealth. Plus, of course, most Commonwealth member states do not abide by the human rights principles of the Commonwealth Charter. They are, to varying degrees, authoritarian, autocratic states which suppress press freedom, the right to strike and form trade unions, the rights of women and LGBT plus people, and in some cases the rights of ethnic minorities as well. So the Commonwealth is a Commonwealth of often human rights abusing nations.
Cara Kennedy, where do you stand on this?
I think going back to the state visits is a great idea. I mean, if you need a justification for the royal family, which a lot of people do, this soft diplomacy, this preserving of relationships and creating new relationships is really the best justification that there is. But I do think, and I think that previously what we've seen is Meghan and Harry are great at one thing, and it's timing. And these overstate visits will create a big target for Meghan and Harry to kind of plan and manipulate and do what they do best. I mean, you look at Kate and William's first visit as Prince and Princess of Wales, which was in Boston, and that day Meghan and Harry released their Netflix trailer. So having these big events and planned and kind of easy to find the dates for and stuff does create a big target for Meghan and Harry to attack.
Peter?
Well, you look at the response in the Commonwealth countries that Kate and William visited.
Yeah.
It was a PR disaster.
Yeah, but that was because of what Harry and Meghan had done, Peter.
No. It's because
it
was because they rode around in a Jeep looking like Prince Philip and the Queen 50 years ago. They came across as arrogant colonial
But remember, that was
rulers.
the first tour after the Oprah interview, Niall. And I believe, and from my reporting on this, it's exactly what Harry and Meghan wanted to achieve. They were trying to derail that Caribbean tour for William and Kate, and to an extent it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Meghan and Harry have certainly an anti-royal family agenda. They have an anti-British agenda, frankly, as well. And they are, I think, two of the most, incredibly miserable and narcissistic individuals on the face of the earth. And they dedicate themselves basically to undermining the royal family. The royal family is actually very, very popular in the vast majority of Commonwealth countries. Most people in the Commonwealth admire the royal family. And so I think that this idea that, Meghan and Harry will succeed in their nefarious, deeply unpleasant mission, they're not going to succeed at all. I think they're already sinking failures, and they are going to fail spectacularly in terms of their attacks on the royal family and their attacks on the Commonwealth as well.
Gardiner draws a clear line between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. Duty versus drama, service versus spotlight. While King Charles and Prince William continue quietly rebuilding trust, Harry and Meghan seem determined to stay in the center of controversy. Gardiner says they've become addicted to attention, and without it their influence fades fast. That's the real warning here. When your brand is built on outrage, peace becomes your enemy. Nile Gardiner doesn't believe redemption is possible, but maybe that's the question we need to ask. Can the Sussexes ever step out of their own spotlight? Can they rebuild without controversy? Because right now, as Gardiner says, their legacy risks becoming one thing: narcissism wrapped in royalty. Nile Gardiner's words are brutal, but brutally honest. If Harry and Meghan don't change course soon, they could go down not as reformers, but as reflections of everything wrong with modern fame. Do you agree with Nile Gardiner? Are Harry and Meghan obsessed with themselves, or are they simply misunderstood? Let me know your take below. Subscribe for bold royal commentary, fearless truth, and deep dive analysis, because behind every headline there's always a deeper story.